everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about some of my longest running beauty favorites. These are products that I purchased mostly in 2023, used all throughout 2024, and definitely plan to keep using in 2025. So first up is this Makeup Forever HD Face Palette. This goes with me everywhere. I do not travel without this palette. This palette of cream products contains correctors, under eye correctors, skin correctors, several different shades of concealer. You've got 2 blushes, you've got some contour shades. This is a product a lot of professional makeup artists have in their kit. I mostly use this for contour and concealing. If you watch my makeup tutorials, 9 times out of 10, you will see me use this palette and one of these top shades right here to carve out underneath my brows, to give them more of an arched appearance and to make sure that they are angled out towards my temples versus going downwards. And then I use the darker concealers around my mouth to get rid of those shadows around the mouth and give the lip line more definition. Up next are 2 of my longest running concealer favorites. This concealer from Kulfi came out in 2022. I'm not sure if I purchased it in 2022, but I remember using it in 2023 and in 2024. I have repurchased this, and this one actually looks like it's kind of close to being finished as well, so I will definitely be repurchasing this because I always want to have it in my collection. It is so good. There's a couple reasons why I love it. The texture, the coverage, basically all of the things that most of us look for in a concealer, I feel that this has. What I love about this in particular, this shade in particular, which is called Cocoa Crush, is that it does have a hint of peach to it. And as many of us know, peachy tones are really helpful in correcting dark under eye circles. Those blue tones or those purple tones that most of us have underneath our eyes or right here by the sides of our nose and our tear ducts, because that is where the skin is the thinnest. So those blue and purple tones come through. And a lot of us, including me, will often use peachy toned correctors to minimize that or to counteract that. But sometimes they can be too peachy. You have to find the right tone for your skin tone. And they're not always available, unfortunately. This is perfect for me because it's like a corrector and a concealer in one. So for me, it's the formula and this specific shade are the reasons why it's been a long-running favorite of mine. And then in 2023, Natasha Denona launched her High Glam Concealer. And I have spoken about this consistently ever since I bought it. It is hydrating, it has coverage, all of the things I just mentioned that were things that I look for in a concealer. Natasha Denona does have correctors in her High Glam line now, but for some reason, and I don't really know why, I just haven't tried her corrector. I'm on her website right now, and it does look like a couple of her shades do have more peachy tones in them. I have R2 right here, and I'm thinking maybe if I want that peachy look, I should try R4 and then compare it to the Kulfi. But for the purposes of this video, these 2 are my longest running concealer favorites. In May of 2023, Maybelline introduced their Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. And I was hesitant to buy this for the longest time because over the years, whenever I would try a skin tint, I was just never happy with it. Personally, I prefer a medium buildable to full coverage foundation, which is kind of opposite from what most of my fellow over 40 and over 50 women like to wear. Because most women, my age and older, do tend to have more normal to dry skin or very dry skin. I just happen to be one of that smaller population of mature women that does still have very oily skin, and most of the time skin tints don't offer enough longevity for someone with oily skin, because those oils that come through just suck up all of the foundation, all of the product, so that coverage just disappears. Or they're often very, very glowy, and those of us with oily skin, we feel like we have enough glow, so we don't need anything or want anything that claims to be very luminous or dewy or glowy. So that is the reason why I didn't try this for the longest time, but my viewers kept bringing it up to me and bringing it up to me and saying, no, Risa, you've got to try it. We really do think you're going to like it. It has more coverage, it is long wearing, the shade range is pretty good, and it is affordable. So that is win, 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 win. So I did ultimately go out and purchase it, and I was so happy with it. I have been so happy with it. It has been in my foundation rotation ever since I bought it all that time ago. I have a couple of shades in this, so I haven't repurchased it yet because I just either use one of the 3 shades I have or I mix them together. And if you're wondering why mine looks different than yours might, because they do come with a dropper. I buy these pumps on Amazon, and I will link the exact pump that I use in the description box, because this one fits perfectly and it works perfectly, and I simply prefer a pump versus a dropper. Up next is the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Eyeshadow Palette, the original. I wasn't sure if I should put this in this video simply because it was limited edition. It is not available right now. It originally came out in November of 2022. Yes, November 2022. I don't believe I purchased it until early 2023. And I've used it all throughout 2023, took it with me on so many vacations, used it for so many events, also all throughout this past year, 2024, and I am going to use this until I hit pan on every single shade. As I was saying, unfortunately, this palette is not available at the current time. The Moonlight version is, I think, still available, which is the most recent addition to the Ethereal Eyes palette collection. When Mario re-released this palette last year, it was in different packaging, and some people said the formula was a little bit different. So I didn't buy the newer version of this because I just didn't feel like it was necessary. I do have the Moonlight one though. I did buy that, and I just don't find myself reaching for it as often as this one. So hopefully he will re-release this again at some point and just make it permanent. Make both of them permanent. This one and the Moonlight. Please, Mario. I think we would all be very, very happy with that. I just love everything about this palette. I use it all the time. These are my favorite kinds of shimmers. They're just really subtle toppers. They're not gritty. They don't have a ton of fallout. They have a buildable amount of sparkle. If you just want a little subtle shimmer, you can just go in once, pat it on with your finger, and you've got just that tiny little bit of sparkle that's so beautiful when it catches the light. Or you can go in again and just really pack it on and get a lot more drama from the palette. I would say that this is probably not ideal for someone with dark skin. I can't say for sure because I no longer do makeup on clients, so I don't work on other skin tones aside from my own these days. So I can't say for sure, but based on my makeup artist experience for many, many years now, I just feel like there should be a deeper version of this palette for darker skin tones because it is really, really beautiful. I just feel like there are not enough shades that will work really well on dark or very dark skin tones. So that's just my little rant about that. But for fair skins, light skin tone, light medium skin tones, I definitely think this is a beautiful palette. And once again, I'm sorry that it is not currently available, but I wanted to keep it in this video for authenticity reasons. It is one of my longest running favorites, and that is what this video is about. So I felt compelled to include it. Okay, even though I am a brow product addict, I switch up my brow products a lot. Based on my Sephora purchasing history, this brow pencil from Patrick Ta could have been included in a most repurchased product video because I have found the perfect shade of blonde in the Patrick Ta pencil. I am so picky about my blonde brow products because sometimes they're too light, sometimes they're too yellow, sometimes they're too gray. I feel like very few makeup brands get the blonde shade just right. Patrick nailed it. I just went a little bit darker and more golden with my hair, so I used soft brown today. I decided I was going to try another shade. I do love blonde, and I highly recommend the blonde shade if you are a lighter blonde like I was back in August before I started going darker. But the one I used today is called light brown, and I just love how tiny the tip is, so I can make those little hair-like strokes up in front. And if I'm going to recommend a brow pencil, it has to be long wearing. I like it to have, oh, the cap just flung across the room, a spoolie. I need a brow product that has a spoolie. Up next is my Gucci bronzer. I have had this, I think, since 2023, and I have not even hit pan on it. And I use it a lot. If you know me, you know I do love a lot of drugstore makeup. Over the past year, I have raved about quite a few really good drugstore bronzers that I do often reach for over this one because they are really pretty close to being just as good as this. But I think we all have those days where we want to be a little extra, where we want to use our best, most expensive makeup and just feel more bougie, I guess. Maybe not all of us, but I know some of you can relate to what I just said. And this never fails me. I use shade 3. If I want to look like a golden goddess, like when I'm on vacation or when I've got an event to go to and I've gotten a spray tan or self-tanned at home, this is just flawless. Everything about this bronzer is perfect and well worth the money if you've been considering it. Another category I talk about a lot in my videos is highlighter. I have recently sort of moved more into the cream highlighter column where I find myself reaching more for cream highlighters versus my powder highlighters. But I will forever be a huge fan of the Rare Beauty powder highlighters. This particular shade, Enlighten, which is an opalescent white shade, is my favorite inner corner highlight of all time. If you want your tear ducts, your inner corners to pop, or you want the area right underneath your brow to pop, this is what you need. I also never travel without this product. And I am going to be in Mexico for New Year's Eve, and I already have this in my travel makeup bag. I had to fish it out. Well, I had to fish out several of these products. I'm one of those people who doesn't wait till the last minute to pack. I start planning my outfits and my makeup in advance, but I digress. This will most likely be my New Year's Eve highlight because it's just absolutely amazing and it photographs so beautiful, and there is a shade for every skin tone. All right, the Maybelline Lifter glosses may have come out prior to 2023, and I don't know exactly when I started buying them, but I keep buying them. Anytime they come out with new shades, I try to get them as soon as possible. These are just some of the ones I own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different shades. This is the one I have on now, Petal, over a cream blush. And I will have all of my makeup listed and linked down below in the description box of this video, including the shades of the concealers and the foundation. I think I'm gonna put Ruby on top of what I currently have on now. This is so gorgeous. These are just as good as any high-end lip gloss, and I will die on that hill. I even like the plumping versions, the Lifter Plump. Some people don't like these because they do burn a little bit. Not everybody loves that feeling, which I totally get. Ooh, what's this shade? I forgot I had this one. This looks really nice for like when I have a tan, when I'm in Mexico, but I do not tan. I sit in the shade with SPF on. So when I say tan, that means I'm going to use a self-tanner, a dark self-tanner. And I don't ever self-tan my face. I just tan my body and then use a darker foundation to match everything else. And when my skin is darker, I love to use a brighter, like pink or coral lip. So I'll have to pack this one too. By the way, none of these sent to me. I purchased them all myself. And if they come out with more shades in 2025, I'll be buying those too. And lastly, this product is sort of controversial. Well, maybe not controversial. It just doesn't have the best reviews online, and it's not that easy to find anymore. But I love it, and I even have a brand new bottle to take on my trip that I ordered from Fenty on the Fenty website when they were offering, I think, 30% off for Black Friday. This is the Body Sauce, and I use the shade Honey Honey. Whenever you see me, if you follow me on Instagram and you see my fashion posts when I'm on vacation, or if I'm going out to an event here in Vegas and I look like I have this tanned, glowy skin, it's because of my self-tanner. And this goes on everywhere that I have skin exposed. Not my face, but my body. I use a big body brush that I buy on Amazon. I pump this out onto the brush and I buff it onto my body. Sometimes I will cut it with a little moisturizer or a shimmer oil just to make it so it's not so dark, because this shade is kind of dark. And this product on its own doesn't have shimmer to it. So if you want shimmer, you do have to mix it with something shimmery. It does give your skin like a glow, but if you want it to actually like glisten in the light, you do have to mix it with something. For demonstration purposes, obviously I just put some on my shoulder, but I would say most of the time I do put a pump of this on my fingers and then a pump of body lotion, rub it together, and then rub it all over my legs or this area, my arms, whatever skin is exposed. And people used to ask me when I would talk about this product if it came off on clothes or on furniture. And my answer was always, yes, it can. In the past, I would never use this if I were wearing something white. It was basically for standing room only events or somewhere here in Vegas where the couches are dark and every place is used to women's body makeup coming off on their furniture. But honestly, when it came to putting this on my legs, I really didn't notice much transfer. It was usually just around necklines. And why I say in the past it would happen is because ever since I bought this stuff, which I have spoken about so much recently in videos, I don't have that problem anymore. I just do a quick spritz of that spray and I have no transfer onto my clothing. And while it does feel a little sticky at first, the setting spray, not the Fenty sauce, I do find that the stickiness dissipates rather quickly. All right, everyone, I do hope you enjoyed hearing about my longest running beauty favorites, makeup favorites. As always, I will have all of the products listed and linked down below in the description box of this video. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask them in the comments. I do try to answer as many as I can. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, I hope that you will consider doing so. I do post new content at least twice per week. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok under the same username, Risa Does Makeup. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video.